bring wealth of experience and knowledge to the stage with a proven track record from whatever I've just told you. Now, today, he will delve in critical aspects of launching a business that are often shrouded in misery. So from the idea validation to crafting rock solid business plans, navigating legal considerations, mastering financial management, and deploying effective marketing strategies as our topic shows. Now let us prepare our minds, open our minds to the valuable insights our speaker is about to share with us. Now, I won't continue much, but just to welcome Evans. Now, you're welcome. You can take us through the session. Thank you. I'll be your facilitator for the day.
Yeah, Felix, thank you so much. Thank you for the introductions. And I just had some challenges with the deployment of my camera. So what you do, Felix, I have two gadgets.
Yes.
And one gadget, my laptop, says that I'm not able to deploy my camera. And my phone says that you have denied me the right to deploy my camera. So if the host can address that, then I'll be able to be visible. Meanwhile, I'll get going with the presentation. So,
all right. I think the host is working on that right away. Thank you for the heads up.
Thank you so much, Felix. So what I'd like to say to our distinguished audience is, firstly, to thank them all for sacrificing their time to be here. We are grateful that you gave up doing other things that could be more important to attend this session. And when I was preparing for this session, I recognized that it is impossible to cover today in just an hour's presentation. And so in my mind, I told myself, all right, maybe we are going to have part 2 of this session. I can see Rachel saying hi to everyone and Eric. So I said we might have to have another session. And Felix, when you feel I need to test my camera, you will be able to tell me to do so. Then today, what I want us to do is to challenge each other today. Because for me, the more I grow older as the years pass, two things that are happening. Firstly, all the difficult things have been invented. There's a lot of discovery that has already happened in the technology space. You know, motor engineering, people are driving the best cars. In the area of medicine, findings have already been done about how to treat different diseases. There's a lot of technology around communication, even, you know, using mobile money, name it. So really, guys, people have already done more difficult things. And sometimes we find ourselves in a situation where we are asking, so what can we do also on our part to make a difference? And I like to actually think about what Jack Ma said when he visited Nairobi some time back. And he said that it is not the owners of those inventions I'm talking about that are going to benefit most from them. It is those who know how to use those inventions. So if you are in medicine and you're so good at using the latest technology for restructuring the dental, structure of somebody's, teeth, you might be the highest earning dentist. If you are in business, artificial intelligence to drive everything you're doing, then while people are complaining that artificial intelligence is taking jobs, you are going to subdue the entire market because ideally what you've done is that you've learned to work with those inventions. If you are in farming and you understand how, for instance, to use technology, And you realize I'm emphasizing technology. And some of you are wondering, okay, this guy, must he refer to technology on everything? Yes, it has to be that way. It has to be that way. And those of you here who are older, those here who hold degrees, and some of you have master's degrees or some other qualifications, you may have come across something called PESTEL. When you are writing your strategic plan, you do a PESTEL exercise. PESTEL, I don't know in full what it stands for, but I think it's something to do with political environment, the environment itself, the way we are depleting the forest and, hurting, emitting carbon. That is the E after P. Then there's the S, which is actually the social. Then there is T. T stands for technology. T stands for technology. There is the economic element of it, and then you have the last one, which is the L. L stands for legal. And so when you think about PESTEL, and I hope all of you can hear me clearly, when you think about PESTEL, there's one letter in the word PESTEL that is actually moving exponentially. I don't know, anyone type if you know which letter it is in PESTEL that is moving exponentially ahead of all the other letters. I'm giving you 10 seconds to type in the chat which letter is moving fastest. Just type, we'll see what you've typed, which letter in PESTEL. Is it the P, is it the E, is it the S, is it the T, is it the E, is it the L? Okay. So
they're typing. I don't know whether you can see it.
It's all right, I can see it here. Yes, it's fine. I just want to involve the distinguished members here of the August House so that they don't feel left out, but also for them to think about what we are saying. So if you've done so, then what I'd like to say to you is that computing technology is changing how we are doing a lot of things. And I think I wanted to also clarify before we get started a misconception that technology simply means computing technology. That is not true. Actually, the word technology comes from the word technician. And I'm going to speak slowly so that you don't miss anything. The word technology comes from the word technician. And Mr. Gucha, you need to let me know once I'm able to deploy my camera so that I can interact properly with my audience. So there's a misconception about the word technology. Technology is not just computing, about computers, software, writing code and all that. The word technology comes from the word technician. And it is a pity, colleagues, it is a pity that for years gone by, technical institutions were closed so that we can have more universities. And yet it is the technicians who actually drive socioeconomic progress. And the word technician comes from the word technical, right? And if you can understand the technical insights of a problem and pin down how to solve that problem, right? And when you pin down how to solve that problem and you can improve how the users experience your solution, and then bring in computing capabilities to improve your technical solution, then that is what we call innovation. You have solved a problem, and anything that improves how we do things is technology. I don't know, you guys, when you did your MBA, whether you went to that level, but I don't think they cover what I'm saying here. And so it's good to understand technology from that perspective, because the T in PESTEL is very critical. But computing technology, the power of computing technology, if you think about how code is being written, including artificial intelligence, And there is right now an argument being made that actually artificial intelligence is going to move to what they call strong AI or strong artificial intelligence, where AI is going, to overwhelm human beings in terms of its ability to take control over everything that we do. We don't know whether that's true or not. What we know is that in the last 3 months, the Chinese government unveiled more recently legislation to regulate artificial intelligence. And then secondly, we know that the European Union was the first, the European Union Parliament was the first institution to unveil legislation to actually regulate artificial intelligence. It is expected that other governments are going to follow suit and other regions of the world. So I think, let me go straight to the slides. And what I'll do is that I'll be requesting Gucha to confirm that he can see the slides are projected.
Yes, I can see them.
So basically, what I want to say to you is that this session today, the content we are about to cover in today's session about how to start a new business in the context that I've just described, where most of the difficult things are already done. You guys, you can study anything on YouTube, on Google, on ChatGPT. You go there and you learn any lesson you're looking to learn. And it's almost for free. What you need is data bundles. So we are actually in a different world, but a world where actually in today's session, we are going to challenge you to change some of the behaviors that you may be having if you want to succeed in starting a new business. There's a gentleman, I'm trying to recall his name, who once said that he's called actually Ruth Franklin. He's a very famous guy because of his perspectives about business. He said that actually he values behavior over performance, because performance is a product of your gifts, your talents, and those are things you have, and you can, be happy that you are a good mathematician, you're a good athlete, you're a good, poet, name it. Those are talents, those are gifts given to you by God, and you are good at them than any other person. So you can perform really well in those areas. But he says that why he values behavior more is because behavior is a choice. You can choose to work hard. You can choose to read every day. You can choose to be kind. And most people choose the opposite. And he believes that if you can work on behavior change more, then I think you stand a chance to be more successful. So today's session, Win Today, Top 6 of Starting a Business. Actually, we are drawing most of the lessons here from the Kids Money program. If you guys have heard about Kids Money, and I know those who are older in this session, you might be offended that we are going to share lessons here that are drawn from the Kids Money, Excellence Center. And if you're offended by that, then I think accept our apologies. But if I ask each one of you to tell me your definition of entrepreneurship, don't use the one that is on the screen. If I ask you in accordance in your own words, in accordance to your understanding, your education, your experience, what is entrepreneurship? I want you to tell me something different from what you see on the screen, or rather write down something different, because this definition we have here was actually crafted uniquely for the programs that we run at Capville. And so because we are trying to manage time, I want you to think about this definition, which is entrepreneurship is a system. It's a system of thinking to create and implement ideas that will help people solve problems. And Mark, you colleagues, there are so many basic, things about our life that sometimes are not very visible to us. So, for example, did you know that our life every day, every minute, every hour, it's a process of solving problems? Like this morning when you woke up, you've solved so many problems. For instance, you prepared breakfast, perhaps those who had breakfast. Maybe you took a shower. Do you know you're solving a problem? Most of you actually brush your teeth. You're solving a problem. And problems come in different size and shapes. And while every single minute, hour, and day and year of our life is dedicated to solving problems, the question is, you as a person, have you scanned your environment and identified any problems that you think are solvable? And if they are solvable, how do you go about solving those problems? And can you set up a process and a system where you innovate a way to solve those problems and charge people money for solving their problem? And I think we'll come to that later on, because this definition of entrepreneurship is quite short, and yet it is absolutely loaded. If we were to talk about this definition on the screen, it might take us a full week. And I would like you to put your comments in the chat about your thinking about this definition. Ask questions. If you have doubts about what is written there, just type, because Simon and Tim are going to collect your feedback so that we can examine what you're saying and what you're thinking, so that we can improve subsequent knowledge exploration and implementation of ideas that are going to change lives. So I want us to just talk about how the process of starting a new business goes. But I really don't want us to focus so much on starting a new business, because for your information, colleagues, for your information, if you wanted to start a new business this minute, you can actually take the next 15 minutes to do so, because you just need to go to your eCitizen account and register a new business, and you'll have a new business. So what's the big deal, right? The big deal is entrepreneurship. It is not the business. You can actually have 1,000 businesses in your name, but it will mean nothing. I'm just pausing to let you have that one sink in. You can have a briefcase with 1,000 certificates of businesses you registered, but it just means nothing. So I want to shift your thinking a little bit. I want you to get away from obsessing with starting a new business. I want you to obsess with solving a problem. Because the reason why you're going to succeed in anything you do in terms of what you'll be selling or providing people as a service, the reason you'll succeed is because of the people who surround you. If the people who surround you don't need what you are providing, you're going to close down. You will not go anywhere. But if the people who surround you need it, then they'll pay for it, and you'll be the most prosperous individual. And so, in short, we are saying that you cannot say that you are going to innovate or be an entrepreneur in isolation of understanding the needs of the people around you. And some entrepreneurs are so clever, and sometimes their cleverness borders on arrogance. And the, guys like Elon Musk, you saw Elon Musk fired everyone, introduced new rules on Twitter, name it. He bought Twitter for 44 billion. I understand it's valued far below 20 billion USD. And, the guy has succeeded spectacularly at SpaceX and Tesla. Mainly, I think, because those two companies require that you comply with the laws of physics, as opposed to this social media thing, where this guy can decide at midnight that, I feel that now we need to change the bird to the X. And he just does it without hesitation. And then he says that, now we limit the number of tweets you can see in the day. And he just goes and changes the code. And then he decides that, all right, okay, if you have a blue tick, now you're going to pay for it. And a lot of guys are exiting from those things. And this company is bleeding cash. And that bleeding is opening opportunities for guys at Threads in Facebook to try and, create a competitor alternative. So that the other day you had Zuckerberg saying that actually Elon Musk is a gift that always gives. And he's so grateful for this guy. Now, I'm referring to these guys to let you know that actually in this session, you're going to learn that whereas it is good to think ahead of the people that you're serving, it is always good also to align, because there's no innovation that cannot be rooted in the present. Every new thing you come up about and create and put out there for people to use must always be rooted in the present circumstances. And that's why it's important to talk to those around you, even if you don't necessarily implement what they tell you to implement. So let's talk about obstacles. And as you try to be an entrepreneur, and I don't know whether I should be asking some of you to tell me, to recite for me this definition, because we've said entrepreneurship is a system. Remember the definition of a system when you're going through school? They said a system are different components of the whole that work together in unison and harmoniously to deliver a common result. And when we say a system, that's what we mean. It's a system of marketing, system of technology, system of accounting, system of design thinking, system of legal compliance, name it. And that thinking comes together. And why is it a system of thinking? It's a system of thinking because the thinking is different. A human being's first responsibility is to think. And what we mean when we say that entrepreneurship is a system of thinking, we are saying that entrepreneurs are serial innovators. They'll try to solve a problem even when things are working, because their nature is not to settle down and say that we are done. And in fact, they say that companies that are not inventing new things actually are in the process of dying. They're going to close very soon, right? And if you're not inventing new things, it also means you're not learning. And when you're not learning every day, then you're falling back. And that's why when we talk of a system of thinking, we mean that you have got to be serially and relentlessly focused on creating new things that are better than what already exists. So if you come here, I want us to talk about obstacles. And guys, they say that there are guys who get really upset when they encounter an obstacle. And obstacles or problems are always the way to innovation, because what an obstacle does is that it helps you to see the other options you are not seeing, right? I don't know how many of you have encountered a situation where you are told that we can't do this because there is this problem. And you sat down and you started thinking and you realize, okay, there's that consultant in town who actually normally provides this alternative. And you go to that consultant and you find that actually the services they're offering actually half the price you've been paying to the other provider. And you shift your contracting to that service provider and your company starts to make profits and your customers are happier because these guys are providing a better solution. But when you're blinded to history and shackled by status quo, and every obstacle you see, you think that now I need to give up, then I think you're making a big mistake. And obstacles actually demand that you create new paths to solving a problem. And by definition, as we've said before, is that new paths are uncleared. It's like you want to build a new road, you have to clear the forest, clear the thickets, level the ground, right? Do all manner of things. And this is why you guys, those of you who attend meetings, when people hear new ideas in meetings, they're no, we can't do that. Because somebody is afraid of the work that comes with doing new things. And many people are afraid of doing new things because they don't want to do the work. It is hard work to create a new path. And it is supposed to be hard anyway. Because really, if you're going to create something new that is good, that inspires you, that makes you feel that you achieved something, then if it's going to be easy, then really, then it wasn't anything new. So what are you going to need to be able to create new paths and succeed in the business? Let me just mention business, but I want you to succeed as an entrepreneur, not as a business, because entrepreneurs are those serial thinkers who have this system of thinking that is always, pumping for, solving new problems that people are facing and monetizing those problems. Now, for the slides that are following, starting with this one, we've created some guide for you on the right, starting with the word think in red, color font. And ideally, what we are underscoring here is the fact that you're going nowhere if you're not thinking. And some of you, maybe at your place of work, you've told your colleagues to think, or you've been told to think yourself. And people don't take thinking very seriously. They take it for granted that God created you so things will happen automatically. No, you're supposed to think and consider some options. So I want you, for every slide we cover, I want you to consider every slide in the context of the bullets that are on the right. So you need to think, you need to have discipline. Can you type for me, what is discipline? Anyone here who knows the meaning of the word discipline? Can you type right now, what is discipline? This class, I needed to have some kids' money students so that they can help us move on these things. Is there a volunteer who wants to tell us what is discipline? Don't raise your hand, just take, I don't know, raise your hand so that they give you a chance to speak. I think I don't know how that works, but anyway, you can type. Just type so that we save a bit of time. So I'll give you my quick definition, but I want you to write yours. Discipline is knowing your responsibilities and taking care of them. You have responsibilities at home. You have responsibilities at work. You have responsibilities in school. If you are in school, you have responsibilities in society. And you need to know what those responsibilities are. Can you list them? After you know what your responsibilities are, you need to take action. Actually, they say that the action is the opposite of failure. When you don't take action on a good thing, then you're preparing to fail at it. So discipline is knowing your responsibilities and taking action on those responsibilities. So we normally say, like, you know, in your family, if you are a husband or a mom in a family, you know what your responsibilities are. You need to take action on them. If you're a child in a family, you know what your responsibilities are at home, in school, at work, name it. You come up with a list. Then you need to be a good decision maker. And you see, it is said, the late Secretary of State of the United States of America, again, I'm forgetting his name. He said that the most important ability you're going to have in your life is the ability to decide. You need to be able to take decisions. It really breaks my heart when I see sometimes people in senior positions. Somebody calls himself or herself a director, but they're unable to take a decision. They're skirting around it and throwing it, I don't know, to a colleague or to the CEO, name it. And yet, in life, you've got to take decisions, the ability to decide, because this is actually one of the qualities of great leaders, the ability to decide. But you see, decision-making, again, is a process. You need to learn how you make your decisions. And they say that there's one principle you must never forget in decision-making, that when the decision, its importance continues to increase, then you need to consult widely. And consulting doesn't mean that you take the advice you've been given. Consulting means that you're taking into account a lot more than you would have had you not consulted other people. So let me move quickly because I think I'm diverting from what we are covering today. So the next thing is that you need to come up with ideas. The difference between ideas and innovation is that creative ideas are just ideas. You've got to test those ideas because some ideas are useless. Only ideas that are tested and found to be useful to the people around you are the ones that you go ahead and implement or pilot, and those become innovations. And innovations are basically new solutions that address people's problems, and they are born from creative ideas. And then sometimes you have to protect your idea, right? And not every idea needs to be protected. And we could talk about this. All of these things I'm talking about are covered in the Ichanuka and Kids Money program. So if you get time in future, you need to join those programs. Then we have got creation of value. You see, the whole idea I'm emphasizing that you need to do things that people will use is because you need to be able to create value. What is value creation? If I ask you, can you write down for me the meaning of value creation? Please type it. What is value creation or creating value? If I tell you, you need to create value to your place of work, what am I saying to you? Okay, our definition of value creation, actually, we use very simple language in these trainings. Creating value means doing something that benefits others around you. That is value creation. As simple as that. If it benefits the people around you, whether they are paying for it or not, then you're creating value. And then your ideas have got to be priced after you test and realize people need them. Price, and there's a process for pricing. We cover pricing or monetization of ideas in Kids Money. And those of you who have children and you want your children to learn early how to survive in this surprising new world, then you need to enroll them for Kids Money so they can learn all the things I'm talking about. And then with all of this, you're going to achieve your purpose. Now, this slide I've just discussed, the red and the blue text, is the underlying common denominator of every discussion we are having today and in future about entrepreneurship. So let me go back to the points here. I want you to note down about creating new paths, coming up with new ideas and clearing the uncleared space so that you can build new things. And I recall there's a time I passed I passed through Two Rivers once, and I found the Centum guys. They were advertising spaces at Two Rivers. So they were saying that actually what we do at Centum, we turn spaces into places you can love, right? So you'll find this bush, you build a nice hotel. It was just a space. Then you've turned it into a place. So there's a guy, I'll tell you a story about a guy who went to this very, I would call it remote, desert location, and he built a ultra-modern hotel resort. And the hotel was so nice. It's like those hotels in the Okavango Desert in Botswana. And in Botswana, if you go to Okavango Desert, normally 1 night per person is normally actually, the lowest price is 8,000 US dollars. That's like $1 million Kenya shillings per night. So there's a guy who told us that he once went to that hotel and they had discounted it to $4,000. He was very happy. $4,000 is a lot of money, my people. It's half $1 million Kenya shillings. So let me go to the story of the guy who built a hotel in a desert. So he built this hotel really nice. It became so successful. Every tourist wanted to go there. So there was this journalist who came, and this journalist, I think he was a bit jealous. So he told this guy, look, why are you taking all the credit for building this thing? Yeah, it is God. If God didn't place this, he didn't provide this space, you wouldn't be this successful. Then this guy told the journalist that, you see, at the beginning, when God had the space all along, before I joined him, it was just like that. It was just a space. But when I joined hands with God, you see what I have helped to turn it into. So you can take that lesson home for yourself. So the first thing you need is energy. Energy. When I say energy, I mean both physical and mental energy. And mostly, if you're going to do hard work, you need physical energy. So the guys who don't exercise and you're in this class, you just wake up, take breakfast, go and work. My friend, you are performing at 10% of your potential. I have to tell you because you don't know. You need to start going for 2 weeks, two walks per week at Karura. You go on Wednesday or on Friday, then you go back on Sunday morning to build your physical energy. Without physical energy, my friend, you're going to bore everyone who is around you, and you'll not be inspired to achieve much. Even your work is going to suffer wherever you are working. So you need energy, and I mean it. You need energy. The beauty with doing those types of exercises to build your energy is that it also keeps you healthier. You look, healthier, inspired, and also inspiring to others. So that's really important. Then number 2, but I want you to only remember number 1. You need energy, because if you don't have energy, then you can't help yourself, you can't help others, right? Number 2, persistence. You need to persist. You can't give up. You need to play your game and play a long-range game such that the people you'll be competing with in the market, actually, some of them close down, some give up, and even the companies they were serving start giving you their clients. Or rather, the companies that these competitors served come to you now because these guys have closed down. So you need to be persistent. But don't be persistent doing the wrong thing. You need to be persistent doing the right thing. And there's a process of knowing if you're doing the right thing. We go back to the definition of entrepreneurship that helps people solve problems. So please, don't live in your head. You need to ask yourself, do people around this marketplace want the solution I'm providing? Then be persistent. Then have a coherent and deliberate process. We call it the SMART. SMART stands for specific, methodical, and consistent approach to solving problems. So like at your place of work, when your CEO presents you with a problem, how do you go about it? How do you respond? Okay, you need first to ask your CEO to clarify what is it that they want you to do. I'm using this as an example. I'm not saying you have to be working and reporting to a CEO. This is just an example. So please take it as an example. So you ask for clarity, specificity. What is it we are trying to achieve? And then you go sit down and ask yourself, okay, you need to break down the problem they want you to solve. Because every problem, when you break it down into small components, you realize it's very easy to solve it. Then that's where the method comes in. Method also means mechanisms. So you ask yourself, they told me to prepare a roadmap or an agreement that we need to sign with this, company that is working with us. You ask yourself, so how do I go about it? So you may say that, okay, let me do some research about the other company. Are there any templates that have been developed before for developing this type of agreements? Ask colleagues around to give you if they have. It doesn't mean you're going to duplicate any agreement, because that's really boring. Why you're asking for that is that so that you can pick some of the unique clauses that are included in such agreements so that you don't miss out anything. Methodical also means that you need to ask yourself, okay, so who can review my work? You need to note that down so that you give to colleagues to review it. And then who can approve this work that I'm doing? And then above that, you need to ask yourself, how do I tell that this is ready for mounting or for launching or for presenting? And then what I'm giving you here is just a simple example. You need to have a specific and methodical system that is consistent for solving the problems you encounter every day. And every problem is solvable, by the way, and nothing is impossible, because when you scan the environment, when you think, remember here, bullet number 1, thinking. Thinking is the only thing that is actually valued above the strongest global currencies. Thinking has a bigger market value than the US dollar, than the euro, and even than gold. So if you're a great thinker, then the world will come to you. You must always remember that. Then number 4, remember to iterate. When you've drafted your roadmap, your plan, the MOU that the CEO asked for you, give yourself time, start early. Don't wait for one day before the deadline the CEO gave to start writing this thing. If the CEO gave you 14 days, start even the same day. Start writing down just some sketch. Iterate. And iteration means you try to alter what you have developed to make it better. And I'll share with you later a story about Steve Jobs, who actually, when he built his products, what he used to do is that they kept iterating. Even there's a time they launched the iPhone without the copy and paste feature. But subsequently, they released a software online that was an update to the previous version of the iPhone, and it was now able to copy and paste. So iteration really gives you a chance to improve what is it that you're doing, and then be resilient. Resilience, I think about it in terms of not being broken down by those who oppose what you're doing. A lot of people are going to stand in your way, by the way, yeah? You're going to be tough. There are people at your place of work, in society, even the gated community where you live. If you start a new project, there are guys there who will say, no, you have approval. Sometimes, go with these guys head to head. I normally like to use the analogy of a football match. If you have watched the Premier League, you find that there's a guy who is dribbling the ball from his goal to the other goal and he scores. And you find that in between, there are guys who are standing in his way, and he dribbles and sometimes charges them. It's allowed in football to do that. And they fall on the way as he passes by. He goes on to score the goal. It doesn't mean that he just ran with the ball without anyone obstructing him. There were obstructions along the way, but he still scores and his team wins. So you have got to be resilient, because there'll be people blocking you. And there'll be people who will even tell you that this is nonsense. And it's sometimes because they are either jealous, or it is because they don't have a vision as big a size as yours. Then number 5, you need to be pragmatic. There are guys who say, no, our mice, we need only white cats. No, as long as the cat catches the mice, right? Pragmatism means that don't go in the field with this fixed mindset that, we must go to the meetings with a Mercedes-Benz. If you can get on a motorbike and it gets you to the meeting, then be it. It is you who is needed there. You need to be pragmatic, right? There's a time I almost missed the SGR because there was heavy traffic before the expressway came. And what did I do, man? I stepped down with my bags and I waved the motorbike. I told the guy, let's go. So we take off, and this guy is driving dangerously, man. And he hit something and we land into a ditch. I just don't know how I didn't break my bone, yeah? So I wake up, and somehow these accidents of motorbikes sometimes are not very bad. So I wake up, my trousers is torn a bit, put my bags back on the motorbike, and I tell the man, let's move, yeah? So we get to the SDR in time. I go to the loo, I get another trouser, I change. I get my tickets, jump onto the train. I'm in time. Remember those days, the SGR was on time. I don't know if it's still on time. I haven't used it like for a year. And, you know, the thing is that this year, if it was 8:30, it is 8:30, it is moving. I was able to get there on time. That's pragmatism. Yeah. But if you have this other attitude of, you know, you are the boss, then you miss the SGR and you miss the meeting in Mombasa. I wanted to use SGR because it's more fun than any other means of travel. Number 6, you need to have a vision. This is actually the most important. Do you have a vision for your life? In fact, the people who want to really achieve a distinctive, superior results and a distinctive impact in their life, if you want to build a very respected reputation, if you are building a business and you want it to have lasting endurance, you've got to start with a great vision. And great visions come from great leaders. You have got to have a great leader. I mean, topics like vision, leadership, these are standalone topics that I think we need to cover in future because we don't have time to do that in today's session. So you've got to have strategic vision, because what vision does is that it helps you to understand where you want to go. And then it enables you then to define your roadmap, which is the mission, how you will go about achieving your vision. And then number 7, you need to execute. Okay? No strategy is better than the executed one. So you can have a bad strategy that is executed, but you have the best strategy that has not been executed. And, you know, I remember an organization where we did a strategy for them. And these guys, for 3 years, they were holding meetings in places and collecting per diem, saying that we need to refine. There are some paragraphs that are not okay. And in the 4th year, they say now we start to implement. But you see, in the 4th year now, they commence again writing the new strategic plan. I could not believe it. This is a true story, guys. Maybe you think I'm creating this one. No, it's a true story, but I can't tell you which organization it was. And it really was disheartening. Then number 8, you need to have an eye for opportunity and pivotal moments. I want you to remember today that time is not equal. There are moments in your life that are more important, carry greater weight than other moments in your life. There's a day in your life, a week in your life, which if you miss that moment, if you don't make the turn, if you don't make the move, that's the difference. And you need to know when those moments come. You need to know that this is an opportunity. It's your job. Nobody will tell you. It is your job to know. And I tell my colleagues, time is not equal. Today may be the day I need to deliver a project for a major client. And if I need to burn midnight oil to get it right, I'll do so. But then sometimes this lesson is very difficult to drill down. But I hope you guys can remember this. There's a time you can go lie on the beach in Mombasa, chill, relax. But there's a time when you need to go for it. And show whoever you need to show that actually you are the guy who can deliver the job. Let me ask you a question. How many people are paralyzed by their ideas and inspirations? These guys, you don't have this idea. And these people talk a lot, yeah? You know them. And, you know, what you do is more important than what you say. I don't know. So in this class, what we are teaching you today is that please don't get paralyzed by your ideas and inspirations. Start. Bullet number 2, start anywhere, anyhow. Just start. Start. The problem is that in bullet number 3, we assume that the world moves at our pleasure. The world moves at our pleasure. Do you know how many of our friends have gone to be with the Lord and the world moved on as if life will never end? The world does not move at our pleasure. People fail to act until the enemy gets his act together. Remember, there's somebody else who is working on an idea maybe similar to yours, but you're here chilling in bed, dreaming, idealizing, and getting paralyzed. And believing the world is at your service. No. You're the one who is at the service of the world. It's you who is at the service. Okay? And I usually tell my friends that, look here, people keep telling me that time is going. Actually, time is going nowhere. It is us who are going. It's us who are going. Time will remain still. Us, we will go. So what we take from the time we have here is what matters. And that's why in our next Kids Money class, we are going to discuss time management. On the class of 19th August, we are discussing time management. And if there are adults who want to attend that class, you can join the class because we don't block them from attending, because we saw the other day university students are joining the class and they're saying it's the best place to be. Then we are saying here that action and failure are actually two sides of the same coin. So I just have to make this correction so that I don't want it to look the way it is, because I have the opportunity to make the correction, so I'll do it. So action and failure are two sides of the same coin. Choose yours. Choose which side you want to be on. Decide. And I told you, if you don't have the energy, let's go back up there. If you don't have the energy, you will not act. I'm sorry. You're going to complain. And you wake up at 8, and before you know it is 2 p.m. Man, I'm so tired. Yeah, you need the energy to do everything we are talking about here. If you don't have the energy, then what we are saying here, that action and failure are two sides of the same coin, that you will not be able to do anything about it. Then you need to have a process as you grow for consistent customer experience. If you're going to start a business and you're the founder, you have to have processes. Processes like for customer service, processes for recruiting new people in your company. Because even if you are the best recruiter, one day you'll not be available to recruit. But if you have got the process for doing it, that you need to run an advert, you need to do the shortlisting, you need to do the first level interview, you need to have a meeting after that level, select those who should go to level 2, you need to do background checks, name it. Looking for the individuals who are fiercely intelligent and passionate about what you're doing. All those things need to be documented and put in a process so that whoever in your company is assigned to recruit, they're able to do it and they still deliver the best of the best people who would work for your organization or your business. And I want you to read this in the context of today's topic, which is starting a successful business. Then third last bullet, we are telling you that everything is your chance to do your best. So those of you who are employed and you are in this class today, if your boss gives you an assignment, a project, a responsibility, do your best. Have the appetite to leave pockets of greatness everywhere you serve. In fact, Jim Collins once said on bullet number 3, that the best career advice he has for everyone is that don't think about your career. Focus on what you're doing and leave pockets of greatness. Everybody, even if you don't like, will know about you and they'll start looking for you. And you're the one who will dictate how much they pay you. But if you chill there, complaining, gaslighting your colleagues, gossiping, doing nothing, then you'll just be that. Steve Jobs designed beautifully even hidden parts of his product. So you need to, when we say pockets of greatness, we say that even when no one is watching you, do your best work. If you're building a product, a service, build the best. Even the hidden parts should be beautifully built. This should be like your attitude. Your attitude should be excellence. And focus on results instead of pretty methods, right? Never lose sight of the mission. The mission is to achieve something. And, sometimes because people don't want to focus on results, you find that in organizations, there are a lot of people who scrutinize and over-dramatize insignificant things that have no connection with their vision and mission. And sometimes when you ask them, can you show me how what you are requesting or proposing contributes to our vision and mission, then they go numb. They have nothing to say because they have appetite for talking, not taking action. And please remember the bar on the right. Every day you need to think more than you do anything. And the best way to think is to read books. I don't know, guys here, can you write down in the chat how many books you have read this year? Or can you write down in the chat if you read every day? Those who read every day, please say you do. And then put the title of the book you are reading currently and write down the key lesson that you have picked from any of those books you are reading. Because if you are not reading, if you are not learning every day, you're falling back. And if you're falling back, then you're being replaced. And then maybe you'll be surprised in just a year or two when you'll be jobless, because those who are reading will replace you. So this is the innovation due process. I'll not spend a lot of time here because I need to keep to time. So I'll try to go through this. And as I go through this, we again will not be able to go through this in detail. I challenge you, if you have the guts and you're not ashamed of joining Kids Money or Ichanuka, please join. We cover all of this stuff to great detail. And then if you also feel that Kids Money really is the center for excellence on this stuff we are talking about today. And when you come to that class, you're shocked when a grade 6 takes you through the innovation process and gives you examples of how to create value. And then, surprisingly, some of the university students who have been attending Kids Money class, when we ask them to give us their examples of how certain things work, they actually go numb, they are clueless. So I normally ask myself, so what is happening at the universities? What are these kids being taught? But let me not go into that because I'll sound like a politician. So let me come here and say that innovation due process number 1, have your idea in brief. Okay. And also, in addition to what you have as your idea, also have some alternatives and say that this is a better idea and you need to test it. Test your idea. Because when you select or choose something, it is because you have reasons why it is superior. So you can't choose if there are no alternatives. Okay. The whole idea of choice is that there were alternatives that you dropped. And what was the basis for dropping the other alternatives? Okay. And then you need to know that who will be your customers? What will be your market too? And they say that just go for a small market. If you've read the works by Peter Thiel, 0 to 1, he advises that the best way to build a successful business is to build a monopoly in a small market. Build a monopoly in a small market. Well, if you want to know how to do this, then please join those classes I've just recommended to you. Capable has a whole range of these classes that you need to join. Then due process number 3, ask yourself, why will customers need to use your solution? I remember Sergey Brin of Google once said that you need to conduct what he calls the toothbrush test. Most people, somehow, they brush their teeth for some reason every day. Actually, some brush twice, like the ladies like to brush even 3 times. And the guys, they brush once. But it happens every day. Okay? And when you conduct a toothbrush test, ask yourself, why will people want this? Why do they need to use this solution? So then again, don't live in your head. Our definition up here of entrepreneurship, we are laying emphasis on people. We are laying emphasis on people. That's why you have to come here in number 4. Did you speak to at least 3 potential customers? What did they say? Customers should not sway you from your idea. They should help you to improve it so that it is more successful. So you need to have an FAQ for every idea you have or whatever is it you're implementing. Come up with like 5 to 10 questions that people might ask about what you're doing. FAQs also help you to think better because you'll discover that when you're writing your FAQ, there are questions you're writing down that you had not considered. And then you start to address those questions. So please do not take number 5 for granted. Include it in your due process. And then, sorry for number 6, we use Capable as an example because Capable has delivered so many innovations. Why should we be the ones? Also here, we are talking about you. Why should you be the one delivering this solution? Is it because you have an advantage? Is it because you have put together the best team? And pricing, what is the pricing strategy? Will you be giving for free and then you charge a premium subsequently, the way many businesses do? Because it's good for you also to see how people react to your idea or your solution. So doing a freemium is good. But recently we covered our pricing class at Kids Money. And I wish many more people can join the Kids Money class because we cover a lot of premium content that will help you to advance your objectives and your entrepreneurial targets. Then our final slide here is to say, number 8, you need a marketing strategy. Which areas are you gonna be marketing this? Even if you're using digital marketing, which actually I recommend very much that you use digital marketing because we have moved on, my colleagues. Those of you who had the pastel example, I think you wrote down which letter in the pastel is moving the fastest. And you need to, even in digital marketing, you can profile the geography where if you want only people in Nairobi to see your idea, if you want people only in Cape Town or Pretoria, if you want people only in Monrovia, Liberia to see your idea, then that's what will happen. Number 9, Ask yourself, how do you disrupt or harmonize with the existing market if any of the solutions proposed? So number 9, there's this thing people say, I want to disrupt the market. Okay, it's not always a good idea to disrupt, yeah? I want you to listen carefully. It's good to disrupt, but it's not always necessary. Because disruption sometimes means that there's a competitor that you're closing down. And I'll give you an example of PayPal. When Peter Thiel joined hands with Elon Musk, because Elon Musk was running another company, I'm forgetting the name, that was also doing the same things that PayPal was doing under Peter Thiel. They realized that why can't we come together and work as a team and just do what and deliver this solution. So what they did in number 9 is that they joined together and they started building PayPal, and PayPal became so successful. Now, people were thinking that PayPal was going to replace Visa. You guys, you know, Visa, MasterCard, name it. But the way they built PayPal is in such a way that Visa was not disrupted. In fact, PayPal was enabling Visa to be more successful, okay, in its, you know, business model. And also think also about harmonization rather than disruption. How are you going to enable your competitors to succeed so they become your customers? Number 10, what will make your product superior than existing services? Because you can't just be duplicating what people are already doing. You have to distinguish your service as the better one. How do you do that? Again, you go back to this, but we created here, sorry for that. And ask yourself, are you thinking hard enough? Are you disciplined? Are you a good decision maker? Are you coming up with more creative ideas? Have you selected the best and tested them as innovations? And so on and so forth. Number 11, does the idea or solution need to be registered as intellectual property? Does it need protection? You need to address question 11. Not all ideas need protection. We cover idea protection in Kids Money. So if you're going to join as a long-term participant in Kids Money, then you're going to cover this topic. Number 12, any other key considerations focused on customers, such as use of software, technology, and information security. So you need to think about how your business is going to use technology, how your business is going to use artificial intelligence, how your business is going to actually leverage the latest, machine learning and, data analytics capabilities to be the best business. And then you need to have a timetable. When do you want to pilot? You need to pilot what they call the minimum viable product. You don't have to wait to have a perfect product to pilot, right? What I forgot to include here is a bullet where we know that Steve Jobs, what I was saying earlier, they shipped the first iPhone without the copy and paste feature, which they introduced much later. Go to the market and learn fast and fail quickly where your idea is not good so that you can correct quickly rather than, staying with it in your bedroom, for years and years and never taking it out. If you want to know that your boat is okay, you have to put it on the water and start sailing. Then you're able to know where the holes are so that you can seal them. And one last thing before we close, I want to say about the due process, which I forgot to include, is that you need to build a team of people you're working with. And be very careful in how you choose the people who work with you. So if you are looking for partners, maybe you need a partner or two. Only work with people who are willing to learn, people who are willing to be corrected. There are some guys who are know-it-alls, who are big-headed. Your partnership will collapse because they are so rigid that you guys will never move on anything. So my friends, be very careful whom you bring on your team as a partner. Be very careful because that could be the beginning of the end of your business. I recommend you even start alone while you are searching for a partner. Take your time to find the right partner who is compatible with your way of doing things. Otherwise, you'll disagree and your business will collapse. Then when you're recruiting, make sure that you bring in domain experts. Domain experts are subject experts or subject area experts. Bring in somebody who is really, really good in data analytics and coding, okay? Because all businesses now are going to lean on technology. So this has always got to be very important. Bring in a very savvy business, a digital marketer. The young guys are so savvy on digital marketing, TikTok, Snapchat, LinkedIn, Twitter, name it. Bring in somebody who is so good in digital marketing. and then bring in somebody who is so good in keeping records, accounting, and managing the enterprise. This person who is in accounts should also be able to manage the business while you are not there, because maybe you're doing this as a side hustle. And as a side hustle, it means you have a full-time job, and you have got to have somebody you can trust to do the right thing, somebody who is honest and ethical, and run your business on the basis of ethical values. Build a culture where ethical values actually take priority position over anything else. And culture, by definition, really is the collective personality of your business or your organization now and what it will be in future. And that collective personality means that it's the personality of the individuals as well as the group. And that personality must be founded on values. And values are simply the first principles against which day-to-day decisions are taken in your business. So to bring us to the end, I want you guys to check these things because if you're not part of this, if you're not part of Kids Money especially, if you have not joined Ichanuka is for university students and graduates and any young person. And then we have Retire Well, which targets people who are employed and those who are retiring and are worried about how they're going to manage their financials in retirement. Then if you're not taking part in these things, then you're missing an opportunity to shift the odds and position yourself for success. I'd like to actually end today's session here. And there's a lot more I would have discussed, but because of time, I wouldn't be able to do so. Over to you, Felix. All right, Simon, you can take over if Felix is not available. Anyone from Capable?
Thank you, Evans. That was a very, very insightful session, and I can see on the chat section, it's quite engaging. Stephen Basuti says, Capable team, thank you so much for what you are doing. Keep it going. So I want to welcome session for discussion, just a few questions if they are there. If you're not in a position to talk, feel free to utilize the chat section because we are on standby just checking to see if there are any concerns. While at it, I have seen two complaints about the certificate. For those who are complaining about the certificate, just check the email address that you are keying in on the certificate form. Ensure that you are keying in the correct email address and check on that email inbox. You'll get it. If your email address has a specific collection of uppercase or lowercase letters, ensure that you write it correctly because that is where the certificate is going to be sent. Otherwise, I'm still checking on the questions. You can raise your hand. We can still give you a chance to talk. Yes, Duncan. You can unmute. Duncan Ngahu, and then we'll go to, I also saw Jackson's hand up. Okay, seems Duncan is not in a position to talk. Eunice? Yes, Duncan, you have unmuted, eh?
Yeah, sorry, but I stepped out a bit, so I didn't get the question, if there was a question.
Oh, you have a question or not?
No, I was just wondering. I had stepped out a bit, so I didn't get what it was. So my apologies.
Worry not, worry not. If you have missed quite a big chunk of the session, feel free to visit our YouTube channel, Capable. I'll share the link on the chat section so that you can, at your own convenient time, you can re-listen to the whole session from beginning to finish so that you get the concepts you have learned today. I also saw someone's hand up. Let me just check.
There's Duncan.
Yeah, Duncan says he had gone out a bit, so. Okay. So Stephen requests for the YouTube link. Let me just get it and share in a second.
Yeah, I saw somebody asking about Kids Money. So Felix will provide the website link on the chat, or anyone for that matter will provide that. Yeah, so
Yeah, sure, Evans. I think we have provided that. Thank you, Felix, for resending the link. Let me get the YouTube channel as well. And also, FCPA, you can also share with us a copy of the material so that we can share to our audience today for those who will need it.
Okay,
Yeah, so
Machi, can I?
Go ahead, Felix.
All right, I just wanted to introduce, maybe to bring to the attendees' attention that we're having another session. Maybe I can call it another part of business, of which we'll be covering business resilience. Now, today we've talked about how to start, how to launch, but then tomorrow we are going to have another one, which will be covering business resilience, how to navigate through the emergency response, crisis management, and even the business continuity, disaster recovery. That one will cover tomorrow. And I would like to invite all of us who are inside, who are in this session today, to register. Yes. Maybe you can proceed, Evans.
No, I'm just okay. I think I want to thank all the participants and to just say I've seen some people saying they didn't get their certificate. So if you didn't get your certificate, I think Felix and Simon, you need to provide your contact so those people can get guidance from you. So otherwise, it was a pleasure interacting with you. I'd like to leave because I'm supposed to be in another meeting, so they're waiting for me. So I'll leave and join the other meeting. But we are always available if you have questions about business. But more importantly, if you want to meet with us in action, please join Ichanuka and Kids Money program. You're going to have deeper content on what we discussed today than what we've provided. So all the very best.
Thank you so much, FCPA Evans. We wish you all the best as you switch gears to other personal schedules. Otherwise, for our audience, I think we have had a good time to learn and improve our professional capacities. Now, for the certificate issue, I can see people still having issues on that. So I want to clarify that number one, just ensure that the email you provide on that form is correct and that the spelling of the email is correct so that the system does not have an issue sending the certificate to that email. Number two, also note that if you attend a session, that certificate is available for a limited period of time. For example, for today's session, the certificate is available until, let's say, the next 2 days. So that means if you request for it next week, high chances are that the system will already have taken it down. So it will require us to again re-upload it, which might cause inconvenience for those who will be accessing another certificate for that week. So ensure that, for example, today, like I've shared the code, make sure that you key in the code and get the certificate today and tomorrow, so that when the time lapses and the certificate is taken out, you don't miss it. Otherwise, I'll work with my team to restore the 2 previous certificates so that as you download today's certificate, you also get a chance to access the previous ones. Also note that you can only download it if you have actually attended this session. So you might know the code, but if you didn't attend the session, your certificate will also not be submitted to your email. I think that's pretty much it. I want to remind us of the upcoming webinar session for next week. Visit our website, that is www.capable.com. And if possible, let me just share my screen so that you can get a glimpse of our website and check what events are coming up so that you don't miss a thing. Feel free to share the links, especially for KidPesa programs and for Ichanuka with your friends and colleagues and families and those who believe are going to benefit from this. A lot of people are really benefiting from these programs. And if you delay, you'll really miss out on a lot. So we'll be having another webinar next week. Let me just check. The webinar will be on how to on solutions to digital marketing challenges. That is on August 23rd. You can visit our website and just click and then make your early booking. We also have physical trainings that are actually active, and we have many registrations coming in. Depending on your area of expertise and your demands in terms of expanding your career, feel free to visit the event section and check out upcoming events. For instance, we already have participants registered for events like electronics, records management, Excel financial modeling, which will be in areas Nakuru, Mombasa. So mobilize your team and your organization and get approvals for these physical trainings, because we have qualified experts who have, for over 8 years now, been providing professional training programs for people like you. So I'm not seeing any other concern in the chat section. Someone says, or Rachel, some says, kindly consider issuing certificate to YouTube attendees. Well, that's a very interesting concern. We'll see how to go about that. Thank you so much, Rachel. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. If you have any other burning concern, feel free to reach us through our email, which is customerservice@capabil.com. I'm just typing it on the chat section so that you can copy it and get your concerns handled. With that, I would like to end the session at this point and wish all of us a very fruitful afternoon as we shift gears to other personal schedules for the day. Thank you so much.